All right, YouTube is online, and now get this. Sorry about the clunkiness. Got to get the keyboard out of the way. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, here we go. Yes, recording is going. That's good. Hopefully that keys in, and we should be seeing the results here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and get Facebook wound up so all this is working properly. And we should be pretty much ready to go here. If you're just joining us on Twitch and YouTube, welcome to the show. We've got a little bit more to talk about than what we saw earlier last night. So not too much to worry about in the way of major amounts of problems going on. We do see, again, the potential for more in the way of rain across the area. In the forecast, we don't see a huge amount of it, but we'll take whatever we can get at this point because of the fact that we've got just such a deficit out there for now and a drought situation that is really starting to have problems. So we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. So if you got questions, again, let us know and take a look and see what it is that you would like to ask and put that into the forecast, and we'll go from there. And we're going to start this thing for Facebook here in just about now. So the time is, wow, didn't expect to have that in there. Okay, looks like we're a little bit less fuzzy. But for now, and that should do it. This is the problem you run into when you're doing everything at once, so forgive me for making certain that all of this is where it needs to be. All right, I think we're going. Let me just double check what's happening over on Facebook. Audio looks good, video looks good on Twitch and YouTube. And we are, hopefully, Facebook is tuning in here. Getting some slow gremlin speeds here for tonight. And that should just about do it. If everybody can hear me, again, hopefully had a bit of an echo last night, but it doesn't look like anything like that is happening right now. All right, blather aside, time is 9 minutes until 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you are just joining us, welcome to the show. This is Weather Overtime. This is your opportunity as the viewer to ask questions if you have anything in regards to what the weather situation is doing. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. It is a pleasant evening, great weather for baseball across the street over toward Erlanger Park tonight. How did the lookouts do? Rick Nyman will have more on that coming up tonight on Sports News 12 at 11, so stay tuned for that. We'll take a look at the Almanac page. We'll take a look at the forecast for tomorrow's Lookouts game. We'll also see the 7-day forecast, which does have a little bit of some shower activity, maybe some thunderstorms coming our way, but again, we're just not really looking at a lot of activity anytime soon. That'd be nice, but it's not Christmas, so not getting any really good news in there where it comes to the rain. But we'll talk about that on the Almanac page coming up here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started for this evening and show you more about what is going to be expected. Early tomorrow morning, it will be a little brisk. Temperatures back in the mid-50s. Jacket on your way to school would be a very good idea. No rain gear necessary. Now, as we go closer to around the area of dismissal time, there might be the potential of some showers, maybe a thunderstorm taking place. Nothing really huge at this point, so that is good news for dismissal time. The bus rider lines at school, just not really seeing too much of any major problems out there. Thanks to everybody for sending in some great pictures over the last few days, weeks, and months. David Dodson from Ottawa sending in a series of pictures, and we just picked one of them to show for tonight of the waterfalls in and around the area. Mr. David from Ottawa, but no idea where exactly this waterfall is located, but a picturesque shot nonetheless. That's our HEP Heating Weather Window picture of the day, and if you've got pictures, we'd love to see what you're seeing out there. Thanks to the Tennessee Aquarium downtown Chattanooga for borrowing their camera, the Chattanooga Weather Cam, as they call it, on Aquarium Way. Live view from downtown, bit of a spider web, but otherwise a clear view, and traffic light and moving very well as we head into the evening hours. If you have pictures, we'd love to see them. as long as it involves weather in some form or fashion. We've had quite a few different shots out there in the last several months. So if you have those pictures, let's see them. Email, drop them to social media, or again, go to Weather Window headquarters at WDEF.com/photos, and you can turn yours in. The website, you can also see what everybody else has been submitting for the Weather Window picture. So a great opportunity to look and see more about what has been turned in there. Some amazing photography. Got to say, there's a lot of great photographers around here. 2 degrees below the normal high temperature, 1 degree below the normal low temperature. So pretty good on the temperatures overall. Again, goose eggs on the rainfall amounts. And we did get some over the last couple of weeks, including a pretty good dose last weekend of nearly 1 1/3 inches, 1.5 inches, somewhere in there. Here's part of the problem we're running into, and borrowing one of Chip Chapman's stashes of News 12 rulers that we take out to school sometime. This gives you kind of a bit of an idea of just how really bad the situation is with the drought going on. Even with the rain that we picked up over the last several weeks, that did drop our deficit down to about 6 1/3 inches in some cases. We were up about 8 inches before we got those chances of rain, and now we are back to 7.37 below for the year, which means at this point that if you take this ruler from the base upwards, we are going to need at least 7.5 to 8 inches. That is an awful lot of rainfall to, again, fill up our coffers. The year 2026 has been extremely dry, drought situation out there, so we've got quite a lot out there when it comes to rainfall. Getting that back again, and that's going to take several days, if not weeks, of rainfall, and that doesn't look like it's in the cards anytime soon. If I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly, November is the rainiest month around here, so for Chattanooga at least. So we will see again the potential of that going on, maybe helping us out by year's end. But until then, we've got some dry conditions going into the main focus of wildfire season. Out and about for a nosh tonight. It is going to be pleasant. It'll be cool, no question. Clouds should clear out of the area. Some decent amounts of some stargazing going on tonight, but no rainfall. You shouldn't have to worry about that whatsoever, and any chance of thunderstorms around the area just not being seen with that either for now. Let's take a look and see what's going on downtown, looking out in the general direction of Erlanger Park. Matter of fact, you can see the lights just beyond Finley Stadium there. You can see the lights up on top of Lookout Mountain along with the Ruby Falls area, and Highway 27 traffic moving along pretty nicely at this point on the 1% list Scenic City camera. Let's take a look and see what's going on traffic-wise at 2475. All of our cameras available on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network page. So if you'd like to see what's going on out there, head to WDEF.com/weather if you'd like to know more about that. 2475 junction traffic moving along very nicely. Again, dry, good visibility across much of the area for tonight. And one more view from the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. North Shore, Coolidge Park, Tennessee River, looking across toward Riverside Drive. Beautiful. A lot of folks out and about earlier tonight. Looks like there's a few folks taking a late night stroll out there, but otherwise, again, very nice, and hopefully continues that way throughout the rest of the evening. We're back into the mid to high 60s, so very comfortable. Humidity's up a little bit from where it was about maybe an hour or so ago, and very nice out there across much of the region, so just not seeing any big problems where weather is concerned. Now, talking about the lookouts, tomorrow's game is going to be a little different. It is a morning game, a matinee, if you will. The lookouts taking on the visiting Pensacola Blue Wahoos. It is a school day game, and first pitch happens at 11 o'clock Wednesday morning at Erlanger Park, and it should be beautiful weather. Temperature pregame in the 60s, should be enough for shirt sleeve weather through the rest of the game, and temperatures warming up pretty nicely into the mid to high 70s. No chance of anything involving rainfall, so if you're heading down there with your student, your kid, your grandkid, leave the rain gear behind, should not be a problem. Looking excellent for baseball in downtown as we go through tomorrow. If you're suffering from allergies, which a lot of us are, including myself, tree pollen has exploded in the last about 24 hours. It was at the low to moderate level. Now it's way up into high territory. We're also now detecting weed pollen out there. So all forms of allergens from the Chattanooga Allergy Clinic are in play at this time, and that is why if you've got allergies like me, mine are particularly ragweed, but can be affected by other things as well. So if you've got any allergies out here, this is why we are seeing some not great weather going on. Air quality overall is actually okay. We've got high pressure over the area giving us the nice weather, but that can cause a stagnation of the atmosphere, and that does a very good job of collecting and trapping pollutants. High pressure doing just what its name implies, pushing down to the surface, keeping things nice and stable. The best amount of pollution, I should say the worst amount of pollution we have is particle pollution at 2.5 microns. That's the smallest amount of the particle pollution that you can get. That is exhaust from tailpipes, that's soot from chimneys, or burn off from wildfires, or smoke from wildfires, and that's up to about, again, a 42. The highest other pollutant right now is ozone gas, and that was at a 33, a trifle higher than yesterday, but again, giving us relatively good air quality across much of the region, so just not looking at too much in the way of very big problems for now. High pressure doing a very good job, again, of keeping things quiet, spinning off of the East Coast, and then also down across portions of the Rio Grande. That is giving us some nice conditions out there. Some of these clouds from the system that we've been watching down this direction have been spiraling up this direction, and that's why if you were in Georgia or Alabama, you probably saw much more cloud cover than what we saw across much of the region elsewhere. Unfortunately, the computer is getting cranky once again, so I guess we're not going to be talking about the maps here for this evening. Apologies for that, but again, gremlins, they happen. If you got going to be out and about tonight, northeast Alabama should be back in the low to mid 50s. Portions of north central Georgia, you might make your way into the 40s. Numbers again should be into the low 50s, higher elevations of northern Georgia, northwest Georgia, mid to high 50s. Not seeing any frost out there, but it will be brisk into the morning hours. As we look over toward western North Carolina, that's where we pick up some mid to high 40s once again there. And across southeast Tennessee, the closer you get to North Carolina or Georgia, Copper Hill, you might make your way down into the mid to high 40s. Rest of the area should be in the mid, few lower 50s around I-75, mid to high 50s elsewhere across much of the region. So not really getting too much in the way of major amounts of chilly conditions for tonight. At this time of the year, it could go either way. And while we are talking about that, please remember that in the near future, we could be picking up some very warm temperatures coming on through. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So stay tuned for what looks to be some very warm weather heading back our direction, but we'll talk about that soon. Temperatures into the next couple of days, we do see very mild conditions and very dry conditions out there as well. We have basically a very strong drought situation going on. All of the News 12 viewing area counties are, with the exception of Grundy County, Tennessee, are under a 4 out of 5 extreme drought situation. That, again, is where we see the 8 inches of deficit come into play and seeing less in the way of very good news. This is not good news for wildfires. This is not good news for agriculture. This is not good news on many levels. And as we head into the thick of wildfire season, this is going to exacerbate conditions and cause a lot of problems out there. So if you're camping, please make certain that you can start a campfire someplace. And when you leave, make certain it is what we used to call in Boy Scouts cold out, where you can touch the ashes of the fire. They are cold. They are wet because you sprinkled water on them to douse anything, but those coals can smolder for hours and be responsible for major wildfires. So again, wildfire care. This is National Wildfire Awareness Month, by the way. I did not know that until today. We'll take a closer look at that coming up a little later. The toastiness over the next several days looks like it is going to be continuing, and we should be looking at the potential for some much warmer conditions. This is all part of the very warm air that has been sitting well back to our west, but is now making its way back toward the east. So Mexico and the Gulf will be sending a lot of warmer air back our direction, and that means, again, the potential for some pretty warm conditions coming up. So how warm are we talking about? Well, let's take a look at the extended forecast here in just a little bit. Currently, the possibility of more in the way of rainfall toward the just past the middle of the month of May, so we may pick up some good news there, and we could use, again, every drop that we can. The best potential going all the way back toward the Red River and down toward the northwest Gulf. That'll be the best potential for overabundance of rainfall. We will see semi-good conditions out there. Hopefully that again comes true, but we will see just how well that works. I believe Jupiter in the western skies, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check that, but some good stargazing conditions out there. This picture overlooking Lake Chickamauga on the Island Cove Marina and Resort camera, and again, all of our cameras available on the EPB fiber optics weather page. Numbers could dip a little bit on Thursday as this latest storm system passes on through, and then we see a big warming trend coming our way as we get into the beginning of next week. Highs on Saturday in the high 80s, low to mid 90s. This right here is just about normal on Friday. This is well above normal, so going from below normal to above normal in the space of just a few days, and we're going to be pushing possibly by this next Monday into the mid 90s. Heat index temperatures, yeah, it's time to start talking about those again. Doesn't look like much for right now. It's going to be hot enough as it is, but outdoor activities with numbers like this coming up, just the air temperature, that could be relatively on the uncomfortable side, so outdoor events, going to have to pay attention for that. We do see, again, around about the area of, again, Wednesday night into Thursday. We see again on Saturday evening, and again coming up next Tuesday. The one next Tuesday does stand the best chance of being our shot at getting more rainfall than what we have seen in quite some time. So that, again, is something we will be looking forward to see what we wind up with better chances of rain. But overall, the chances of rain are not great. We are going to hope for more. We definitely could use it, just not really seeing it at this point, so we don't really get a lot of anything in the way of heavier rainfall out there. Going to be getting quieter. April is the last month of big chances of severe weather. Not going to be seeing that as we go into the next few weeks. As we go through May, we get into those summer doldrums where not much happens. That's not to say severe weather won't happen, but it is where the severe weather for this area of the country does manage to slow down by quite a lot. In 3 days' time, the Pacific hurricane season will begin. The Pacific begins about 2 weeks earlier than the Atlantic, and the Atlantic season begins in just less than 3 weeks. That begins on June the 1st. Hurricane season is on the way on both coasts, so if you're heading to the beach, either and any place around the United States on the coastal areas, it's time to be weather aware and to pay attention about what may be heading your direction. Again, you don't want to be heading into an area that you're just going to have to turn right back around and get out of the way of an incoming storm. Again, let's practice, again, good safety and common sense out there. The Hurricane Forecasting Meteorological Corps at the Colorado State Tropical Division puts out an outlook every year, and they update it several times through hurricane season to let us know what's going on. Now, there's a developing system in the Pacific. It's called El Nino. It's a warming of the waters, the surface waters of the top portions of the eastern Pacific. That warm water can change the air patterns around it, so it forces storms to go one way or the other, splits them up, wrecks them. It can also have an effect on storms forming in the Atlantic, and that's going to be what the forecast is calling for this time around. Last year, we were looking at 17 named storms. That's quite a lot. This year, according to CSU, it's going to be less than that, about 13, just below the average of what we usually see. Of those, 9 could become hurricanes. That will be, for 2025, was above average. This year, just below average. Likewise, of those that become hurricanes, those that become major hurricanes, that's category 3 and above, that is where we will see less again. And the accumulated cyclone energy, the longer we go without storms, the longer we go without hurricanes using up the heat of the top portions of the waters of the ocean, the more that energy continues to build. And when that happens, that can spell disaster, because that could make a category 1 hurricane or even a tropical storm just rocket to maximum potential of a category 5. That is something we have to watch out for. But again, because of El Nino affecting weather from the Pacific to the Atlantic, according to this, the ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, last year was way above normal. This year, it appears to be just below normal. So that's great news if that pans out. Again, this is a look several weeks, several months ahead. There's no way anybody can look at all of the stats and say that you know who's going to win the Super Bowl or the tournament, the NCAA basketball tournament next year. You can make some educated guesses, and that's basically what this comes down to. The experts looking at the information that we have are showing a downturn in the activity, and hopefully, again, it stays that way. We'll have to wait and see. Just remember, if you're going to the coast, going to the beach, enjoying yourself, great, no problem. But pay attention to what is going on. Make certain you're weather aware, because all it takes is one storm to really ruin somebody's day, and we're talking about some deadly consequences. So time to pay attention to what's going on there with things like that. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with the tropics in the course of the next few weeks and months, so want to stay tuned for that. Weather 101, it's a great program from the National Weather Service in Nashville. It's a free online weather education webinar. Tune in and you can listen through your headphones or your speakers. If you want to ask questions, you got to have a microphone. The topics right now, we're getting down to the short list because the spring semester is almost over with. They've been doing this now for several weeks, and the topics are amazingly varied. They talk about a lot of things, from severe weather to winter weather to flooding to all kinds of neat things, even a little bit about seismology. They talk about tsunamis and why we have to watch that. And that's another thing that NOAA does through the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. They do not just talk about climate change. They talk about a whole bunch of other neat things. And if you'd like to learn more from them, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, lightning is the topic. If you'd like to go there, all you have to do is go to weather.gov/OHX and sign up for it. It's totally free. They would like you to register. And again, if you would like to ask questions, you need to have a microphone to be able to speak. But it is a great opportunity to learn more. And this will be, again, tomorrow, 10 a.m. This is Nashville, so this is Middle Tennessee, so this is Central Time Zone. So this will be at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, all about lightning. If you can, tune in, learn a little bit, got some great opportunities there. And while nothing is going on, this is the perfect time to make certain that you are paying attention to what needs to be done when it comes to weather situations. And if you have the opportunity to become a Skywarn spotter, and I say this a lot, but maybe you just moved here and you don't have any idea about what severe weather involves, and you've never been through a tornado warning or 5 in one evening, like some of us have done so before and are pretty used to it. If you'd like to know more and how to get ready for severe weather, how to get over the anxiety of severe weather. National Weather Service in Morristown, which also covers part of the News 12 viewing area, has an online Skywarn training module. It's a great opportunity to learn. It's a great opportunity to stay safe, and I highly recommend it to anybody who is out there who would like to know more. The more Skywarn spotters we have, the better off we all are, because that's more eyes and ears out there looking, listening, watching, and finding out what exactly is going on. That information goes back to the National Weather Service through the Skywarn spotters, and then it comes to people like me and my colleagues here at News 12, and then it goes out to the rest of the community. So if you have the opportunity to take this course and become a Skywarn spotter, hour and a half out of your day, learn a bunch of information about how to, first of all, how to stay safe. Secondly, what to look for when these storms come along. And thirdly, how you report that information. The more details you give to the National Weather Service, the better they can hone their warnings and tell people what you're seeing, and therefore what you might expect when that warning goes out with the information that you helped to provide. That is a very cool thing. If you'd like to know more about this, same website, almost, weather.gov/MRX. Again, a great opportunity to learn more on there. For tonight, it was not anything in the way of a question involving right or wrong answers. It was just an opinion poll, just with a couple of questions on there. For our Williams Plumbing Services weather poll question of the day, if any, what are your favorite types of clouds? Cumulus, the more puffy, the Toy Story clouds, what my wife calls them, the cirrus clouds, more thin, wispy clouds, those tied in a dead heat for second place. Stratus clouds, fog, rain type situation, that poor stratus got none of the votes, and the majority of the votes said, I don't care, I like sunny skies best. Fair enough, 50% of the vote there. We'll have a new poll going up at midnight that's going to be all about names for rain. And if you like science fiction, especially if you are a fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, stay tuned, because that poll will go up at midnight, and that should be very interesting. But thanks to Williams Plumbing Services for being our sponsor for the weather poll. And if you'd like to vote in the other polls, go to WDEF.com/vote now so that you can see a little bit more about these polls out there. So again, please take a look and see what is available out there for you. We have polls for sports, polls for news, polls for Let's Chat at 10 o'clock in the morning. So take a look and see what you got out there, and tune in and let us know what your opinion is. All right, that should do it for tonight. We have been on for, well, 26 minutes. That's not too bad for a night like this where basically nothing is going on. So quiet conditions, and hopefully it stays that way. Not seeing any problems for now. Baseball tomorrow morning at Erlanger Park looks great, and through the rest of the forecast up until tomorrow evening, where a slight chance of rain exists. And then as we go into the next several days, occasional chances, but that's about it. If you have any questions, or if there's something you'd like us to focus on more, if there's something you'd like to see less of here on Weather Overtime, email us at the email address in the blue bar, aonek@wdef.com. A little further down in the red bar, you can get in contact with anybody here at News 12 by using our website, again, WDEF.com, on the Contact Us section. You can talk directly to our news director, our general manager through there. If you're a sales person, if you're a business person at your organization and would like to advertise on some of these pages that we have, some of the forecasts that we have, or any of the segments that don't have sponsors already, please contact our sales department. Again, you can do that through our website. Thanking our sponsor here, again, Epicos, Comics, Cards, and Games. Grateful to have them along. It's great to have the sponsor on there so we can keep you up to date on this. Our first sponsor for Weather Overtime. Thanks again to Epicos, Comics, Cards, and Games for being our sponsor on here. That should do it for tonight. We'll go ahead and send you back to your regularly scheduled programming. I'll have more on News 12 at 11. Chip Chapman will have your forecast coming up on the morning show starting at 5 a.m. Eastern. And, of course, stay tuned for more on our website, WDEF.com. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Thanks for joining us for Tuesday's edition of Weather Overtime, and stay tuned for much more with News 12 on air and online.